Here are some basic facts. We have major problems in the Middle East on a ton of fronts. The Trump administration has pursued these policies to try to contain Iran and had some success. And yet, the Trump administration is right now clashing over its own intelligence leaks, which the government is responsible for, and clashing with reporters, which is a kind of odd place to be at the highest levels of government amidst all of these important Middle East and international issues. At the Pentagon today, things got downright chaotic when the defense secretary took on reporters.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard, it's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump, because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective.
Now, that's a major allegation. That press room that he is admonishing is full of Pentagon reporters who do some of the toughest reporting out there, people who have experience dealing with intelligence, military affairs, some people who end up going abroad sometimes, or their colleagues who serve in war zones where many reporters have lost their lives. So saying without evidence that they are just hoping that something doesn't work or rooting against the country that they are a citizen of, the U.S., is a major charge when you think about it. Even in this time where people are used to the rhetoric, it is downright Nixonian. And there is a debate over just how successful this initial Iran strike was. Journalists are going to cover that. Some of the debate is coming from inside the Trump administration because, again, it's the intelligence they oversee that had a leak that said maybe this was not as effective, obliterating everything as the president had claimed. And yet, let's remember, across our coverage, there are plenty of experts who say that containing Iran at all or setting back the nuclear program at all is, from a general U.S. and safety perspective, a positive. We've heard that from experts.
You know, we've had actions for the last 70 years in the Middle East, and Israel and the United States have always been successful. It may be that we did more damage than what the Defense Intelligence Agency thinks.
Is this a significant foreign policy win for the Trump administration?
It is, but let's look at it. It is, to be fair. It is.
Send a message to Iran that the United States is willing to do just about anything to protect Israel.
Those are just three examples here on our air on MSNBC with experts we call upon, some of whom have government experience, including General Clark, talking positively about aspects of this. And yet, this is an administration that, as you just saw in that odd or unusual hectoring presentation from a Pentagon chief who used to be at Fox, wants to debate the role of the press or try to give out orders. And I don't care which party's in power, the government doesn't give out orders to the press about how to cover things in the United States. As for the Trump administration overseed intel, it was leaked from inside the Trump administration to the New York Times, stating that the initial assessment thought those strikes partially damaged the nuclear facilities, setting them back by, quote, a few months. Financial Times reported on early assessments in Europe, indicating Tehran was able to actually move some of the uranium stockpile ahead of the strikes. Satellite images showed a convoy of trucks outside one of the facilities days before. You can see that there. This is how intelligence works, kind of a piecemeal, a mosaic, if you will, to try to understand what happened. And a new CIA report seems to push back on what was that initial leak and discusses how they view the Iran site as severely damaged, key aspects destroyed. Now, that's a little bit of the picture. And General Clark also told us over time, intelligence tends to hopefully get better, so you get more of the picture. The administration, though, courted this clash by, according to their own initial assessment, overstating the success, with Trump claiming, quote, obliteration.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
We believe we achieved destruction of capabilities there.
We have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program.
We are confident, yes, that Iran's nuclear sites were completely and totally obliterated.
Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated.
Obliterated. It's not a coincidence when 5 different people who work together keep saying obliterated. Obliterated and totally destroyed is a factual claim. And the Trump administration oversees intelligence that doesn't match that. And the history of misstating or spinning intelligence in the Middle East is a long and big problem, one that Trump used to criticize when it was done in the Bush administration. Trump is now attacking specific journalists, trying to use government power to oust or get fired a reporter at CNN over this issue. Hegseth, you saw, calling out outlets, launching probes about the leak of the preliminary intelligence. Senators also discussing the apparent uncertainty here after a briefing today.
To me, it still appears that we have only set back the Iranian nuclear program by a handful of months. There's no doubt there was damage done to the program, but the allegations that we have obliterated their program just don't seem to stand up to reason.
Let me turn to the press clash, which so much has been normalized lately, but there's nothing acceptable about the Pentagon trying to lecture reporters about how to cover facts, and especially in concert with the intimidation tactics. And interestingly, it's even gotten into a bit of a civil clash at Fox, where, of course, Pete Hegseth most recently worked. Take a look at this exchange.
Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president says.
I'd like to say a word, if I may, Dana, about Jennifer Griffin, who was attacked by the defense secretary today, an attack she certainly, in my view, did not deserve. Her professionalism, her knowledge, and her experience at the Pentagon is unmatched. And I have had and still have the greatest regard for her. The attack on her was unfair.
Is the Pentagon under Trump here and Hegseth out of line? And is this a negative for an informed, accountable foreign policy to have the government trying to crack down on reporters and, in this case, former colleagues?
Well, I also have worked with Jennifer Griffith at Fox News and Natasha Bertrand at CNN. They are two pros, superb reporters, nonpartisan, really hardworking. They do a great job. And so, I think, as you alluded to earlier, Ari, the politicization of intelligence is very dangerous. It's not in the national interest to do it, whether you're saying that Iraq does have WMD or Iran's nuclear program has been obliterated. It doesn't serve the national interest.